Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Chantal, and today we are talking about anticipated books coming out. I was gonna make this just Q3 and then a Q4, but I got super excited, so I'm talking about essentially the rest of the year. I am in a reading slump at the moment, and when I'm in a reading slump, part of what gets me excited about reading again is talking about books coming out and looking at people's recommendations and all of that fun stuff and putting stuff in a list and doing this to prepare to talk to you about anticipated books. So this kind of stuff is part of my enjoyment of, doing booktube and reading and all of that, but I don't really have a lot to talk about in terms of actually reading. So I figured I would finally get up this late Q3, but it's not late because I'm just talking about the rest of the year. So from July through the end of December is what we're talking about in terms of anticipated books and books coming out for the rest of the year. All right, I do have my iPad here, so I'll be reading off of this. And the way that I have structured this list of books is categories. So the first category is any ARCs, advanced reader copies that I have to read and review. The second category is auto buy / auto read. These are books that I know I'm going to buy, I know I'm going to read for sure because they're sequels or they are authors that I really enjoy reading from. The next category is library reads. These are books where I am not quite sure, but I'm still interested in reading them. So I am going to check them out from my library. And then the last category I have is wait for reviews. These are books that are kind of interesting to me, but I'm not quite sure whether I will like them or it's an author I've never heard of, a debut author, something like that. So I'm going to wait and see what other people think about the books. We're talking about the arcs I have. There's a couple of arcs here. There are 2 arcs here that have come out that I have just not read yet. The first one is Fabulous Bodies by Chuck Tingle. It's right up here, this neon colored book. I buy Chuck Tingle no matter what. My husband has already read it. He read it on audio. We also buy it on audio because he reads it on audio. He's already read it. He said it was cuckoo crazy in the best way possible. I have to read it because I also have this e-arc copy that I need to review. So Fabulous Bodies, that came out on July 7th. It's another Chuck Tingle horror novel. We enjoy his horror novels a lot. In this one, fashion influencer by day and grave robber by night, Poppy Stringer is on call when Eddie Michaels, a flamboyant, piano-slamming rock star and queer icon, unexpectedly dies. All Poppy has to do is retrieve Eddie's body from the medical examiner's office, but what starts as a routine delivery quickly goes off course when Eddie wakes up. So, like, in my mind, I'm picturing undead Elton John. We'll see how that goes. And then the next one I have is The Dragon Has Some Complaints by John Wiswell. This came out July 14th. This is about a 3-headed dragon, and each of the heads has a different personality, and to escape a nearby battle, the dragon sneaks into a dragon riding academy, and there's a student who is desperate enough that she kind of overlooks the fact that he's a 3-headed weird dragon, and hijinks ensue. This immediately brought to mind for me this meme. So I also had this as an e-arc. I have not read it yet. I need to read it soon. The next arc I got, I'm so excited about. I just got it within the last 2 weeks and I flipped. Oh my God, The Scarlet Ball by Nevo. Oh my God. Okay, so this is out October 6th. Nevo is one of my favorite authors ever. And this seems to be in the vein of like her historical fantasy, in the same vein as, oh my God, why am I blanking? It's literally my favorite novel of hers. Siren Queen. That is my favorite Nevo novel, and this seems to be in the same historical fantasy vein. Judith Ban, former convent girl, courtesan, and failed thief, is on the lookout for her next identity. The daughter of a Vietnamese adventuress and a French naval officer, she's no stranger to risk, but she's unprepared for the secrets of New York's legendary 400, or for the women who build their power at the city's heart. There's blood-soaked, gold-etched rituals of demonic marriage. I stopped there. There's a couple more paragraphs in the synopsis. I stopped there because that's enough for me. Now, part of me, I'm not really a big fan of con women stories, but for me, because I don't like the part of a con man story where it'd be like the anxiety of pretending to be someone when other people expect you to be that person. That kind of anxiety I'm not a fan of, but if it's just a con woman story where she's coming in and she's not saying who she really is, etc., that is good, okay with me. So, and it's Nevo. I trust Nevo, so I'm gonna follow her. All right, and the last arc I have for the rest of the year is As You Wake, Break the Shell by Becky Chambers, another one that I'm very excited about. This is out October 13th. So these two I'm probably gonna be reading in September at some point. Told in an alternating timeline of the two characters' initial coming together in a not so distant future where they have found domestic bliss, this is a story harrowing and haunting, heartfelt and hopeful. Through a love story centered around survival, we are given a glimpse into the very best of what Becky Chambers does in her writing. Explore what it means to be human and what it means to come together. I skipped a lot of the synopsis where it talks about the characters because it was like, this character is this character is this, they come together in this, and it would have been a lot of talking. So yeah, I am excited for this one. The cover is magical. I really, really like this cover. So those are the arcs that I have to read that I am very, very, very excited for. And yeah, I'm behind, but I will catch up. I will catch up. Now we go on to my auto buy / auto read list. Now I'm not necessarily buying every single one of these books, but a good majority of them I am. And this is a very long list. Let's just go through it. So first, on July 21st, which has just passed, Sea of Charms by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the third novel in her cozy fantasy series. This one features fake relationship, fake dating. We'll see how it goes. Next, on August 4th, probably my most anticipated of the year, is A Trade of Blood by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is book 3 in the Anna and Din mystery series, which has an actual name, the Leviathan something, but it's just the Anna and Din mystery series in my head. It's book 3. It's a mystery fantasy series. I love the books. I love this series. It's so good. Let's see, just a basic line read for this is, brilliant detective Anna de Labra must prove a man's innocence to stop a civil war. That's so simple, but these books are so rich in the world building and the mystery, and Anna and Din as main characters are so good. I'm so excited for this. Next is not a sci-fi or fantasy. This is a mystery. This is The Silent Appeal by Janice Hallett, which is out in the US at least on August 25th. This is book 2 technically, the second novel, but the third book that she's written in the series. The first one was The Appeal, then there's The Christmas Appeal. I actually have a little novella here. Janice Hallett writes a lot of mysteries that are all epistolary format, usually emails, texts, etc. She has very high highs and low lows for me, but her last book, which was about pub quizzes, I forget the actual name of it, but the last book was back on track for me. I'm not sure how we're going to go back to the same characters in this world, how there's going to be another mystery here, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I enjoy Janice Hallett a lot, so I'm here. Next, on September 29th, we have Forged in FIYAH, which is a collection of short stories. FIYAH Magazine is a speculative magazine that often features and highlights stories from Black African diaspora authors, and they do the Ignite Awards, which are fantastic if you want a lot more diversity and not quite the same books that every other award is, nominating for the year. I will link FIYAH down below because they need more love. And this is a anthology that it's a collection of 18 stories, and it coincides with the 10th anniversary of FIYAH Magazine. So we have stories from authors such as Maurice Broaddus, M.H. Ayinde, Tanya K. Johnson, C.L. Clark, who I have enjoyed, Suya Davies Okungbowa, who I've enjoyed, W.C. Dunlap, Veronica G. Henry, Cherie Renee Thomas, Tanya R. Moore, Brent Lambert, Toby Ogundaran, Tade Thompson, Nelson Roland, Eden Royce, Ebony Dunbar Scott. Eden Royce and Ebony Dunbar Scott, I for sure have Ebony Dunbar Scott right here. Eden Royce, I know that name. I probably have something by them somewhere. Yvette Ndelovu, Emilia Harrington, and L.D. Lewis. I also have L.D. Lewis somewhere. It's actually in my bag because I've been meaning to read the L.D. Lewis that I have. But yeah, great collection of authors that I know and also don't know. FIYAH is a fantastic magazine to check out. I haven't really been in a short story groove for the last year and a half, so I haven't really supported any magazine. But when I get back in, FIYAH is usually the first that I resubscribe to. All right, moving on, we have She's a Doll by Barbara Truelove on September 8th. Barbara Truelove wrote Of Monsters and Mainframes, which was one of my surprise favorite reads last year. I really enjoyed it, so I'm very excited to check this out, especially because Lucy isn't a normal girl. Ghost, victim, killer. She's a doll on a mission to find the man who killed her and return the favor. She's a porcelain doll who wants revenge against the man who killed her. I am so down. Barbara Truelove has a very interesting voice, and I am just so curious about what she's going to do here. Next, also very exciting, Off the Reservation by Stephen Graham Jones, October 13th. This is set 5 years after The Only Good Indians, which I have here and have not yet read. So it's a sequel to The Only Good Indians, which came out, I want to say like 2019-ish. So I don't have much to say about this because it is a sequel, but excited about that. I do need to read The Only Good Indians. I have like 4 Stephen Graham Jones books that I own. You can see 2 of them right here. There's The Only Good Indians. There's one else. Oh yeah. I have The Angel of Indian Lake also. So I literally have 4 Stephen Graham Jones books that I own and haven't read yet. My husband has read more Stephen Graham Jones at this point than I have. So I do need to do that. Maybe I'll do a vlog finally reading all of the Stephen Graham Jones that I own. Off the Reservation is out October 13th. This says it is set 5 years after the events of The Only Good Indians. Nate Yellowtail joins a ragtag group to repatriate the bones of a Blackfeet boy from the Carlisle Indian Industrial School. Okay, next we have As We Fall Through Time by Claire North, out on October 13th. If you've been watching me lately, you know that I absolutely adored Slow Gods by Claire North, which came out late last year. I read a couple months ago. It was so good. I know Claire North has written like Greek mythology. Do not care for Greek mythology retellings, so even if I enjoy Claire North, I'm not going to read those. But Claire North doing another speculative fiction, I am so here for. And this one looks to be like some kind of odd time travel romance going on. So it's one of those synopses that has a lot like this character, and then they do this and this. But essentially, tagline is a fall through history on a thrilling journey of shattered time, broken futures, and a love that can never be erased. Very, very curious to see what she does with this one. Okay, and then last of my auto buy is Cold Redemption by Nalini Singh. This is out December 1st. This is book 10, I believe, in Side Changeling Trinity, which is season 2 of Side Changeling. So it's something like book like 19 or like 21 or something in the entire Side Changeling verse. But I'm very upset that this is not out in July like the last 2 books were. I have to wait all the way till December, and especially because the romance is between Amara fucking Elaine and Pax Marshall, which is insane to me. And I'm sure most of you have not read the entirety of the series, so you have no idea what that means. But just know that this is one of those where fans are losing their shit that we're finally getting Amara in a romance. It's going to be crazy. And I really, really hope that one thing about this series so far is that it really is dragging its feet on the macro plot, like the bigger overarching plot, which is what I tend to enjoy a lot more in this series. But book 10 in the first season was a very big book. So I'm hoping this is a really big book, especially in terms of the main plot. Okay, we are on to my library reads. These are books that I am very interested in, but not going to pull the trigger on buying. We're going to do it from the library. First, we have Not With a Bang by Temi O. This is already out, July 14th. This is essentially a family drama at the end of the world. There is a celestial object is fast approaching Earth, due to slingshot around Earth and disappear again, and everyone has their own theory on what it is. And we follow the Minton family who is in crisis as this object approaches Earth. So I'm very curious about this. There are a couple other Temi O books I'm interested in. I do have out from the library on audio right now, Do You Dream of Terra-Two? So I'm hoping to read that first and then see if I like her writing and then read this one. Okay, next on July 28th, we have Harbour of Hungry Ghosts by Eliza Chen. This is a historical fantasy adventure. And let's just hit the tagline because the synopsis was very long. A family of demon hunters find their hands full when unfamiliar monsters start stalking the streets of Opium War era Hong Kong. Yes, gimme. I'm very, very interested in this, and this cover is very cool. Next, very exciting, but also very cautious. This is Blacktail by Scott Hawkins. He wrote The Library at Montchar, which came out like 10 years ago or something like that. He hasn't written anything else. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here is another book from him. So this is out September 1st. I will, very brief because The Library at Mount Char is so hard to explain. Like, it's one of those where you just I was told to go into it blind, and I did, and I had a great time. It's so chaotic. And I feel like this is going to be very similar. So I only went with the tagline and the first brief blurb part. I didn't read any further because I don't need any more. The tagline is, a wolf sets out on an epic journey of revenge in this one-of-a-kind dark fantasy. First little blurb section. The wolf Blacktail is faithful to his forest god, but in these times, faith is not enough. His world is besieged by men. Soon his territory will be overrun, and then there will be nowhere left to go. When his mate, a house dog, is killed, Blacktail rebels. He invades the house of her owners, seeking vengeance. It is kind of giving a bit of what the Library at Mount Char was dealing with, but maybe completely something different. So I am so curious to see what happens here. Next, also on September 1st, we have Scion by James Islington. Still don't know how that's pronounced. I should probably figure that out. He is writing currently the series that everyone is enjoying, The Will of the Many. I still have not read The Strength of the Few. Need to get on that. But this is a, what does it say? John Wick meets Blade Runner in this fast-paced cyberpunk thriller. I'm leaving it at that because the rest of the synopsis on Goodreads, the blurb, was like one of those like first person I this and da-da-da, and I hate blurbs like that. I really do. So I was just like, I'm not reading all this. The tagline is enough for me. So library, check out. Next, we have Kiss, Slay, Replay by Rachel Harrison, and the AC is about to kick in. So I'm going to take a break. It's loud. All right, I just turned it off because I'm losing the light. Like, I just noticed that. I don't know, maybe you watched it go all the way across the wall. I don't know, but I'm losing the light, so let's get through this. Okay, next I have Kiss, Slay, Replay by Rachel Harrison. This is out September 1st. This is a library copy because I have 4 Rachel Harrison books that I own. 2 of them I did buy like used bookstores, but I have 4 Rachel Harrison books that I have not read. One of them is right here. So I do have a vlog planned for that. I need to do that. So this is gonna be a library wait until I figure it out. But this one is basically a slasher time loop story happening at a wedding. I just love that she comes up with random horror movie ideas and makes them books. All right, last section is wait for reviews. These are books that sound kind of interesting, but I'm not sure. And because of one thing or another, so I am basically going to wait and see for some reviews to come in and see how people take it. First is The Demon Star by Jesse Aragon. This is out July 28th. This says the otherworldly religious conflict of Dune, the cosmic strangeness of Gideon the Ninth, and the heart-pounding action of Red Rising converge in this horror-tinged epic science fantasy debut. That's a lot of comps, and very interesting to see how those all combine. And sometimes these marketing comps are just there to get people, you know, to get like familiar names in. But very, very interesting. Isira Noctis was a human sacrifice marked for death. Unlike the thousands harvested every year, though, she did the unthinkable. She survived. And what she brought back with her could change the fate of the worlds. When Ysira's estranged son is chosen to become the vessel of a god-killing demon, she's faced with a choice. Allow him to harness cosmic power at an unspeakable cost, or doom millions to save him. Curious? I'm very curious about this, but we shall see what people think about it. All right, next is The Only Way Out is Up by Django Wexler, out on September 29th. This is a book where a small-time scrapper and his pet robot will fight their way out of the junk heap in a tournament that will either make them richer than gods or rip them apart. This is a lightning-paced progression fantasy adventure for fans of Cradle and Dungeon Crawler Carl. So I have not always been the biggest fan of Django Wexler's writing. I think I've tried to read a couple of his books. Maybe I've read like a chapter or two, haven't really been into it. So we will see what people think. Man, I thought I had a lot more, but we're on the very last book. This one is There Used to Be People Here by Kennedy Cole, out on November 3rd. This one, it has a couple of things where I know they're tough topics for me, but I'm still very curious about this. So, in 1970s Mississippi, a black detective and his temporary partner are assigned to a case that shifts from murder to paranormal conspiracy with life-altering repercussions. Wenton, Mississippi, a man enters the bathroom of a local gay bar and doesn't come back out. Instead, he's found cold on the floor and facing the wall, and no one seems to know how this happened. With shades of The X-Files and S.A. Cosby, There Used to Be People Here deftly explores race, queerness, and existing as other in a society that demonizes everything different. So, the X-Files bit is interesting. The S.A. Cosby, black cop in racist Mississippi bit, and a queer bar. There's a lot of phobias that are going to be going into this, isms that are going to be happening in this, and a lot of the time, those affect me quite deeply, and I tend not to be able to consume that kind of media unless I'm very, very prepared for it. So this is one of those where I really want to see people's reviews and see what kind of trigger warnings and content warnings people put in their reviews before I dive into it myself. That is everything that I am anticipating for the rest of the year. Let me know, out of all the books I mentioned, what you are most anticipating. I would love to hear that. And if there's anything I didn't mention, a book that you're really excited about that is coming out this year, I would love to hear that too. Like I said, I love hearing about books that are coming out. I love hearing about books that people are specifically excited for. Something about that excitement is so contagious, and I love it. And that part of that is like organizing that and seeing that and watching videos about it and seeing people get excited about books makes me excited about books again. And that's part of what gets me back out of reading slumps, honestly. So I'm hoping that doing this and hearing from you guys and slowly continuing on the book I'm reading right now will get me out of this reading slump, because it has been slumpy for July, but that's okay. Reading slumps are part of the process too. That's everything. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.